name Ice Cube. We was tough gang with an attitude, with a soda. I got. Never mind. Hello, this is Focus Entertainment, and I am still your reviewer, and I'm coming straight out of Compton. Yeah. Uh, been wanting to do this review, but I wanted to really like go back a little bit about when I was about maybe like 19 years old, 18, somewhere around there, 16 years old when this movie, when NWA rap icons came out and revolutionized and changed the way hip hop music was perceived. And so what I did, I kind of did a little trip through memory lane. So this movie talks about the rise and fall of NWA, hip hop, probably the most important, influential, and the birth of gangster rap group of all time. I'm not kidding here. These guys are legendary with.
It's like we're just telling it like it is. We're reporters. We're not doing nothing but making records that's real. And when it gets real, you know, it's like the truth hurts.
Dr. Dre doing his final album entitled Compton. I thought, well, what the hell? I do this. So this movie starts out really well with the Eazy-E in the very beginning, doing the drug, the drug bust part, and I love the way it started out. It was really good, before I actually get into what this movie was missing. And after that, you get to see Dr. Dre doing his thing. He's just a local DJ, and then of course we see Ice Cube and DJ Yella at the club, man, in the club, and they're just kind of trying to get their career. They're living they're basically in a what do you say, like a Fat Boys at the time, LL Cool J world of rap music. So trying to get a good record deal was really hard around this time, and so we also get to see MC Ren later on. But okay, now I want to talk about this movie on the surface is actually a really good film. I loved it. When I first saw it, I was just glued to the screen, take my eyes off of it. So after that we see them rise up, and they meet their what's his name, the record producer, and he gives them the platform for them. They got to deal with the realities of being from the hood and being rappers, and then a world that doesn't understand them, a world that doesn't get the message they're trying to convey. So they have to deal with the cops, and then of course the birth of that song, Police, and after that they it kind of goes a little bit in the breakup, and I like the breakup. It was done really well. We get to see Ruthless Records. They collide with us Cuba the Lich Bob. Yeah. And that, all right, man. So that part was I love that part. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, including when they told him not to do F the police, and they did, and Ice Cube said, I got something to say. I love that part. I think it's probably one of my more favorite parts of the movie, including the part in the beginning with Eazy, the drug dealer part. And after that, you kind of see, you get to see they break up. Eazy-E kind of goes, he goes on his own. He stays with Ruthless Records, and he stays with the music producer, and he's kind of more like a sellout, kind of like a how would you say this? And I never looked at Eazy that way at all, but he's kind of looked at as a sellout. He's kind of weak kind of guy, and he doesn't have a whole lot of honor, a whole lot of. I mean, that's the way the movie. I'm not. Eazy-E as a person as a whole in real life is something different, but in the movie he's kind of played out as an opportunistic guy. He's very narrow-minded when it comes to his NWA. But there's a part where Dr. J loses his brother, and they said they would always be brothers. They would always stay together. But we all know in rap music that's a different thing every time. We see him contract the dreadful virus AIDS in this movie. We get to see Dr. Dr. Dre and Ice Cube rise up to including we get to see a little bit of the Chronic on here. We get to see Ice Cube do his. You get to see him writing his script for the movie, the wildly popular movie Friday on the same movie. I thought that was a great. You know, before I get into the what this movie was missing, I want to just finish telling you what I thought about this movie and how it was going. And so after that, we get to Easy. He's kind of going into like I said, he's using drugs. He's going into like a downward spiral on this movie. He's kind of like the way they painted the picture, because Dr. Dre and Ice Cube had a hand in writing this movie, or the direction of this film, and it kind of makes them look more like visionaries. And Easy and MC Ren's kind of just in the background. He's kind of like a background brother on this movie or something. I don't know what they call each other brothers, but it seems like on this movie they don't really. It doesn't really. MC Ren, you don't really see a whole lot of. He's kind of, anyways, and a lot of him being from Texas, and a lot of the NWA's albums, he is kind of in the background to begin with, actually. And DJ Yella, the guy who played DJ Yella, I love the way he played him. It was done really well. O'Shea Jackson played Ice Cube. He was. I love the part where they're on the bus, and then the gangsters, they go in there, they do their thing, they scare because these guys trying to throw signs at them and all that stuff, So, you get. This movie has it. It kind of, like I said, it kind of goes in a different direction, and it doesn't tell everything. And now I can get to the parts it didn't tell. Okay, there was a lot of stuff on this movie that was not. There's a domestic violence part that Dr. Dre was famous for beat or slapping his wife, slamming his girlfriend into the wall and throwing her down the stairs. And like I said, I did some studies, and I actually also memorized a lot of the feuds on this. There's a lot of stuff they left out. I don't think 3 hours or 2 hours and a half did this movie justice. And the feud between Dr. Dre and ECE is left out on this movie, and I kind of thought that was kind of. They should have. That's one of the parts they should have put in. They should have put the part, where Ice Cube's feuding with a lot of different rap groups at the time, including Cypress Hill, and the way that Snoop Dogg. Oh my God! Wait, hold on, I forgot about that. Snoop Dogg on this movie. The guy has. Looks like they went and got some guy off the street that you see on the bus when you take the bus. Actually, especially where I live, you take the bus, and you see these kind of guys anywhere. They're usually up to no good or on drugs or talking to themselves on the bus. That's basically what that guy looked like. He doesn't look like Snoop Dogg that we all came to love, the G-Funk era, the Regulate era of Snoop Dogg, the doggy style Snoop Dogg from Long Beach. He looks more, like I said, like a reject. And the guy they got for Tupac, there was a part where, and I might quote, I think they played Suge Knight in a very real manner of what the Suge Knight really is. For him being in prison, and I think he's supposed to, I think he's facing the death penalty actually, and I thought they did Suge Knight really well. The guy kind of looked like him a little bit. A lot of the characters on here didn't actually look like the real persona, the real people, but he actually looked. I think the way the Death Row was basically a record label started by Dr. Dre and Suge Knight, but ended up being more like a mafia. And like I said, these are. I'm going to tell you guys what the study, the background study I did at this movie. I did it kind of a little bit further back than behind the scenes of this movie, and what I found out that basically Ice Cube and Dr. Dre made themselves look really well in this movie. Made themselves look like visionaries, and Eazy-E looked like a weakling little sellout in every aspect of every measure. I don't think he was given a proper respect that he deserved on this movie. I thought it was very disrespectful, and actually, even though when I saw this movie, I was so into it. I was like, this movie, I really like this movie. I'd see it again. I'm gonna buy it on DVD when it comes out. But I was just like, I was very disappointed, and I kind of and a lot of the stuff they left out. They mentioned both Thugs and Harmony in here. They mentioned Friday. A lot of stuff they got left out. You mean the way Snoop Dogg came in, and the way Dr. Dre ended up hooking up with Tupac, and Tupac being from New York. The timeline gets messed up, and you don't actually see a lot of the stuff. And like I said, 2 hours and a half, 3 hours would not have done this movie justice. If they really would have wanted to do this movie the right way, the way it was supposed to be done, they would have put everything I spoke of. And if I'm missing anything at all, if you guys want to put in the comments below, if I missed any of part of the what this movie was missing, I really like to know, because, like I said, I went and did some studies, and there's there's stuff talking about the way Dr. Dre actually set up Eazy-E to get jumped on this movie by Suge Knight and his henchmen for Death Row. So a lot of stuff that it got left out. But on the surface, this movie is definitely a winner. I give this movie 5 stars because it's, like I said, it might have not been. They might have not told everything that happened, like a lot of the stuff between the timeline between Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and Eazy-E, how he went and did all in it, and the way that I think what really would have helped this movie a lot if they would have showed the feuds like between Dr. Dre and Eazy, which I really want to get into right now. Like, okay, this Dr. Dre had done like the Chronic, especially at the beginning of the album, he's talking about Eazy-E, and then it goes into Dre Day. And on the Dre Day video, you get to see Eazy-E on there playing, or some guy playing Eazy-E, and he said, "I will rap for food" and all that stuff. And Eazy-E is kind of played as a money hungry, and I don't think that's actually true at all. But and Dr. Dre at the time, was a lot of this the Chronic, because I remember having the cassette. I used to watch. I heard this album so many times, and there's a lot of references in there about Eazy. Use a penguin, mother. And then of course Eazy went back and said, made real Compton City G's, and he hooked up with Big T Knockout, and he went and did that. He was he was a G thing before he was a G thing, and it shows Dr. Dre with some lipstick or something. It's kind of like a funkadelic Parliament thing going, because keep in mind that Dr. Dre did not start out as a rapper; he was actually a DJ, and he did a whole lot of because in the early '80s we had the Fat Boys, we had you remember that movie Crush Groove? We had a lot of stuff like that nature. There was no gangster rap at the time until 1987 came around, of course. And we did another thing. Okay, he has nothing to do with this movie, but I wanted to mention these guys because even though this movie has nothing to do with them, they had already been doing gangster rap. I left them out. DJ Quick and Too Short. The shorty. Too Short, the pimp. The guy always talking about how many he can get. And DJ Quick he's straight up from Compton, and the guy's real. Now I want to talk about who was real on this movie, and I'm talking about in reality. I looked into it, and I already knew that Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were studio gangsters. All right, they're not real. Neither one of them are. They were basically. I know that Snoop Dogg had gotten a murder, had been accused of murder. We know that, okay? But usually with cases like this, a lot of these rappers, they do this after they're famous, after they have already accumulated album sales, and this really helps them a lot to focus that image of a gangster. And a lot of times a lot of people are not aware of that, and it's a selling point, so it helps them. And Dr. Dre was, like I said, he's portrayed as a visionary on this movie, and he's not portrayed as a gangster. So Dr. Dre's not a gangster either. And MC Ren, he, like I said, he slipped through the cracks on this movie. and Easy is probably and Ice Cube also are these are basically good boys. You know, they were not gangsters. They were not. I just spoke to somebody the other day about Straight Outta Compton, and he was just telling me how back in the days, I also seen a video about it actually on YouTube about how before the boom of gangster rap, going on the street or just like on the hoods we live in now wasn't that bad, and then after that, a club owner by the way, and he said that after NWA released their self-titled album Straight Outta Compton, everything went sour. You know, it was not safe to walk on the streets no more. There was people claiming and all, throwing signs and all that stuff. You know, shooting each other, and and you know, in some aspects of NWA is probably, like I said, will always be the standard bearer for gangster rap. The guys that started it all. I mean, I know what kind of message they were trying to do.
Stuff that we've been through, you know, stuff that we've seen and our buddies been through, we've been through ourselves. It's not an act.
And you looked a certain way on the street. You know, you went to jail just so they can get their, you know, so they can keep their statistics. Whatever. So you can keep them up. Actually, glorified. We're not pro gang.
The only thing you can get out of gang banging is maybe going to jail or dead. One of the two. That's where it's going to end up.
We don't glorify it, but it's so real. It's a thing to talk about. It's a thing that we have to talk about.
And you know, basically get back to the part where Dr. Dre and Eazy-E. And basically on Real Compton City G's, there's a whole lot of, I used to hear that album. I had the cassette also, or I got it from a friend who recorded it for me back in the days. And I was more for the Eazy-E camp with Ruthless Records, because I knew, okay, these guys are Eazy-E on the video actually from Real Compton City G's exposed Dr. Dre for what he was. I mean, at the time, and how he was faking it. And you know, and of course later on the movie, it talks about how they were contemplating on doing a new NWA reunion album, and of course that didn't happen because he contracted the AIDS virus. And what is true that Dr. Dre said, quote unquote, he said he couldn't believe it when he saw it, when he saw Eazy was dying, when he found out he was dying. And you know, and they were that is reality. They were gonna make an album, that, of course, that never came into fruition because of what happened, of course. And I mean, honestly, with Snoop Dogg being on this movie, and especially in, I mean, like I said, you're gonna post whatever comments you want on the bottom, but Snoop Dogg was getting into something that did not concern him. He was not a part of NWA. He kind of just, you know, Dr. Dre went and discovered him, basically, just like the way he discovered 50 Cent, Eminem, and all the other cats. And, you know, he's just riding on the cocktails. He was just along for the ride. And he's basically just, these guys are not gangsters, you know what I mean? And you got to keep it real, man. And so, you know, that's basically what Real Compton City G's was talking about. And Eazy was probably the realist. I mean, he was the realist, man, and I got no respect for the guy. God rest his soul, rest in peace for him, because you know he's been gone for a long time, and I still hear in my neighborhoods I go to, I still hear, you know, Eazy-E being played, and of course Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. But like I said, this movie didn't really cover everything, and but. Like I said, I went in, and there's things that I already knew that this movie had left out, you know. So basically, this movie was fit to make Ice Cube and Dr. Dre look really well, look really good. But I mean, you got to forgive them for that, really, honestly, because I mean they are icons. So I mean, they might not be gangsters, they might not actually have that gangster image. It's up to par with what, you know, usually let me talk about a little bit about gangster rap in general. A lot of gangster rap in general is or a lot of when you talk about rappers in general, when you come out, I mean, there's a lot of pressure for you to be a gangster. There's a lot of pressure for you to be a hustler, be a pimp, whatever, whatnot, blah blah blah, whatever you want to call it. But And a lot of times these guys lie to us. A lot of these guys are not legitimate, because how could you be a gangster and not be behind bars, do time behind bars, and you know what I mean, and actually have enough time and be in your early 20s and do an album about you know, basically, you know, that a lot of these rappers, they lie. A lot of them are not gangsters. A lot of them are just got an original idea from an original group known as NWA, a visionary. I mean, taking away all the feuds, all the bad blood between them at the time, you know, with Ice Cube, and he did, you know, the movie did cover that he did that diss against NWA, and then you know, before that they had mentioned Ice Cube as a mark, you know, and the way this movie ends, it just kind of ends abruptly, but like I said, on the outside of that, it's a great movie. I liked it, and it's definitely going to be a great, like I said, a classic for years to come. But just the way they did the whole thing, the way the whole story was told, it did not do any justice for it. Because, like I said, you can't cram all that history in, all that, the timeline was messed up and all that, and it was just convenient, you know, a lot of the stuff that happened, you know. And I mean, I on the outside of that, really, I want to give respect where respect is due with these guys. They're the ones that started it all before anybody was really doing it. I know I mentioned DJ Quick and Too Short, but these guys are the first actual mainstream gangster rap. You want to call it mainstream because the way it wasn't like that. But you know, they weren't aiming for a mainstream audience. It's just the guy, you know, the music producer that they got later on, or these guys were talking about what they see in the hood, what they see on the streets, what the cops do to people, the way how there's all kinds of killings still to this day. The cops have committed a lot of murders recently of killing. You got 5 or 10 cops against one guy, gunning him down, shooting him to death, or police brutality. I mean, the list is endless. So a lot like these guys are just don't call these guys gangsters. Don't call these guys anything. Call them visionaries, poets. Call them straight from they were raised in the hood. They did what they had to do to survive, and a lot of us can relate to it. You know, I mean, I know I can, and I actually survived my experiences that I had, but it's not about me. But you know what I mean. And they had a message, and they brought it, and here we are. What 30 something years later, 20 something years later, talking about it on this movie. And I think these, like I said, all these guys deserve the respect, including DJ Yella, including MC Ren. And okay. All right, this is Showbiz Entertainment. I am still your reviewer.
That's the way it goes in the city of Compton, boy.